Are you ready?
You got me ready to hit start when I'm ready to start.
Whenever he starts talking, I'll hit start.
Well, let me tell my name first before whoever got my sheet. This is Eric, because it's not in my speech anyway.
Because nobody knew. You don't stand out in class.
I don't stand out at all. I'm just a quiet guy in class, you know what I'm saying? Okay, I'm ready.
Okay.
Now.
K-E-N.
Okay, ever since the introduction of the wheel, people been trying to make it go faster. First, somebody attached a horse to it, then somebody learned how to harness the same power into a combustible engine. And now today's wheels are powered by hundreds of horsepower. Today I want to talk to you about an underground community that is fueled by this love of horsepower. Today I want to talk to you about underground illegal street racing. First, I want to tell a little bit about the history, then I want to give you some of the risks that go along with it, and then we'll see a race and talk about some of the rules that go along with it. Now, you won't typically catch me burning rubber or racing for money or anything, but I do consider myself to be somewhat of a motorhead. This is my current project right here. It's a '69 Chevelle, bad as hell, with a 350 turbo transmission, rebuilt 350 engine, has a brand new set of pipes on it, and still needs a little bit of work, but you know. So I have a broad definition when it comes to street racing. It could be anything that starts at a red light, or it could be like a so-called organized event where people gamble for money. What it is a street race between two street legal cars is what I'm talking about. This could be your daily driver, or it could be a souped-up classic that you have. What I'm not talking about is amateur racers who just pull their race cars off of trailers for the event. Now, I don't know who the first two drivers were that took their Model Ts down the road in a race, but the history of street racing often goes back to the days of Prohibition. The bootleggers needed fast cars to drive their cars needed fast cars to deliver their goods throughout the night. This gave them the advantage over the police. Now, I want you to imagine being a bootlegger in the 1930s. You pull up beside a regular driver in a regular car. You already know your car is stronger and meaner. So if you're anything like me, you're going to want to race. So there you have it, the days of street racing were born. This guy right here is Robert Glenn Johnson Jr., I'm sorry, better known by NASCAR fans as Junior Johnson. He's a famous moonshiner that was turned professional racer. He retired in 1966 with 50 wins. According to Tom Wolfe in his article, The Last American Hero is Junior Johnson. Yes, he's responsible for the bootleg turn. This is that turn that you see the stunt drivers do in movies where they do 180 degrees real fast. Now, cars have gotten a lot safer since Prohibition, but there's no improvement that has eliminated the dangers of racing altogether. Now we're going to talk about some of the risks and dangers that go along with racing. First of all, you have an increased chance of police activity. There's charges range from speeding to wanton endangerment to manslaughter, and racers face a fine and jail every time they hit the pavement. Now, the worst thing that can happen is injury or death. I have no statistics to tell you, but I do have a story to help illustrate my story. It's about these two assholes right here. Now, they drove their parents' Mercedes-Benz in the city streets going about 85 miles per hour and killed a taxi cab driver. He was 46 years old, sole provider of his family. The ironic part is Need for Speed video game was found in one of the teens' cars. Now, the moral of the story is that this is no game. Other problems that exist are noise pollution, illicit gambling, auto theft, and gang activity, but we'll get to that later. Now, besides rules, besides safety, there's other rules that go along with street racing. These seem to be universal when going from state to state. Now I'm talking about tournament or grudge racing. This is when it gets real. These rules exist for fairness because there's normally ranked ego and money on the line. The first rule is to do a burnout or something about traction. And we got to apply something to the ground so that the cars stick to the ground a little better. The second rule is not to jump, and then the third rule is not to get caught. Now these are the cars that's gonna be racing. Anybody want to make any wagers on who's gonna win?
Jeep wins.
Jeep wins.
Well, hey, it only wins when it's on spray. When it's off spray, it doesn't beat it. So, you know.
The Jeep wins, okay?
Watching,
So I'm happy most of y'all know that. But I still got something for y'all, so don't worry, okay? Now, whether it's terrain's legal or a drag strip that's in the boondocks somewhere, the quest for the fastest is still on. The difference and the most fascinating part with street racing as opposed to professional racing is no one knows for sure who's the fastest. But social media is helping to narrow this gap. Racists often visit their competitors on Facebook and even travel to race and spectate. I don't know if you're a racer, an enthusiast, or don't drive it off, but I hope you've enjoyed this presentation. I hope you learned a little bit about the histories of racing, a little bit about the rules, enjoyed the race that I was going to show you, and have greater appreciation for the work that goes on under the hood.
Pull it up on YouTube. You can see that.
Yeah, I'll load it up on YouTube later for everybody. But like I said, I got something for y'all anyway. And it's right there. To my last. What up, homie? What you got under your hood? $1,000 amp, $1,000 what? I said hood, not your trunk. I don't give a fuck about your motherfucking son. What up, homie? What you got under your hood? $1,000 amp, $1,000 what? I said hood, homie, not your trunk. I don't give a fuck about your motherfucking son. Bring my caddy for a pickup, drop the bed and made it flat. Added headers to the engine for them loud ass flash pack. Drive them Fords, but not them Chevys, looking anything but soft. At the red light, as you rev it down, you hear me loud exhaust. You would swear I had nitro when I take it out of neutral. Let you get a head start, smash the gas and then I lose it. Can't afford no DUI, so I'm mobbing steady so. And them police can't catch me, that's why I don't get pulled over. Let's race.
I feel like I was in a music video.